Princess Cellari of House Valeth stepped onto the royal docking atrium of the Star Palace cruiser Celathi, her posture straight enough to cut air. Embers of sunlight from the nearby star scattered across her silver ceremonial armor, casting prismatic reflections across the polished obsidian floor. Courtiers bowed as she passed, their voices hushed with rehearsed reverence. Behind them stood a single human. Cellari paused with visible confusion. "Is this a joke?" Captain Alex Rourke didn't move. He stood at ease in a plain navy blue security uniform, hands lightly clasped behind him, expression unreadable. No armor. No ornate markings. No shimmering crest of noble lineage. Just a human, young by alien standards, unremarkable by all appearances. Her steward leaned close. "Princess, the Interstellar Council insisted on a human representative in your escort detail. Political balance, they said." "Balance?" Cellari murmured. "They assigned that to me?" Alex spoke for the first time, his tone steady and polite. "Captain Alex Rourke, assigned as your personal protector for the duration of the diplomatic journey. I look forward to serving you, Your Highness." "You may look forward to whatever you like," she replied, stepping past him. "Do try not to trip over your own limbs." A faint exhale, possibly a laugh, escaped him, but he followed silently. The princess's private corridor unfurled like a radiant tunnel, alive with drifting gold particles that reacted to her biosignature. Doors opened ahead of her without sound. Guards lined the route, armored in gleaming plates, each one a towering presence with combat implants worth more than a human colony. And yet the council had assigned her this fragile biped. Cellari slowed her pace when they reached the elevator to the royal deck. Alex stepped inside behind her, leaving respectable distance, a gesture she grudgingly noted. "You have experience?" she asked without turning. "Yes," he said. "That is quite vague." "I wasn't asked for a resume, Your Highness." She faced him fully for the first time. "You are aware that this journey carries extreme diplomatic weight? That there have been threats against my life? That my survival is tied to the stability of an entire empire?" "Yes," he repeated, calm as still water. "And yet you show no concern." "Concern doesn't help me do the job." He offered a faint shrug. "Preparation does." Cellari was about to respond when the lights flickered. Only for a breath, but she noticed. The elevator paused, an imperceptible delay that shouldn't have existed. Her gaze sharpened. "Was that normal?" she asked. "No." Alex studied the panel. "Could be a fluctuation. Could be interference." The lights returned to full brightness, and the elevator resumed its ascent. Cellari folded her arms. "If this is meant to impress me, it isn't working." "Wasn't trying," Alex said. She almost smiled out of irritation. The royal deck greeted them with a gentle shift in gravity and a change in scent, fields of imported blossoms from the Valeth homeworld lining the air with crisp floral currents. Cellari dismissed the honor guard and entered her meditation chamber. Alex waited outside, reviewing security displays projected from his wrist device. He noticed an oxygen imbalance warning from the chamber. Not an alarm. A subtle drift. Too slight for automated systems to flag. He tapped the panel. The readings wavered, unnatural, like someone had rerouted flow manually. Inside the chamber, Cellari's breathing slowed as she began her ceremonial centering, unaware of the silent change creeping through the vents. Alex opened the door without asking. She straightened instantly. "Explain yourself." "Oxygen levels are dropping," he said. "Slow enough to go unnoticed for 10 minutes. Enough to weaken someone meditating." Her brows drew together. "That's impossible. My staff checks. Someone bypassed the system." She inhaled and noticed a faint metallic tang. "Activate emergency filtration." "Already did," he said, stepping past her to open the manual release plates on the wall. He twisted the valve with practiced motion, bleeding the contaminated air and flushing in fresh reserves. Cellari watched him work, efficient, focused, not a trace of panic. Humans were known for improvisation in chaotic situations. She had assumed the stories were exaggerated. When he finished, he turned to her. You should be clear of danger. She studied him with new eyes. Who would do this? She asked. Someone on board, he said. Someone with access. Her pulse quickened. The saboteur may attempt more subtle attacks. Yes. You seem entirely too calm about that. Calm helps me think. She narrowed her gaze. Have you done this kind of work before? On other ships. Other people. Other threats. His tone held no boast, only fact. Your record? She pressed. Classified. Cellari let out a sharp breath. You humans and your secrecy. We prefer strategic ambiguity. A reluctant laugh slipped out of her before she could stop it. Alex didn't comment. He simply resumed scanning the room's vents. She almost thanked him, but before she could speak, his wrist display flickered. Encrypted packets were moving through the ship's internal network. Tiny, sporadic bursts, designed to look like background noise. He expanded the data and frowned. Your Highness, he said. Someone is transmitting from within the royal deck. Cellari's spine stiffened. To whom? Unknown. But the pattern suggests short-range relays. Probably coordinating movement. Movement of what? Assassins, Alex said simply. Before she could respond, the chamber lights dimmed again, just for a second, but enough to stretch her nerves tight. Cellari stepped closer, voice low. Are we under attack? If we were, you'd already know. He turned toward the corridor. This is someone probing defenses. And testing your reaction, she added. Probably. Do they know you detected the oxygen tampering? Not yet. Alex glanced back at her. But they will soon. Cellari walked beside him as they exited the chamber, watching the guards take their posts. Her mind churned. If Alex hadn't intervened, she would have collapsed in meditation, leaving her vulnerable to whatever came next. As she observed him issue quiet instructions to the deck officers, something shifted inside her. Not trust, she was far from that, but an uncomfortable awareness that the human she had dismissed might not be useless after all. A messenger drone drifted down the hallway and halted before her, projecting a small holographic sigil. A blood-red crest she recognized. House Draith. The message unfolded into a single sentence. The summit will proceed without you. Cellari's throat tightened. They know I'm here. Alex stepped beside her. Your Highness, we need to increase security around this deck. There is no need to tell me what I already. The lights flickered again. Longer this time. Shadows stretched across the corridor. Alex's hand moved to the compact weapon on his belt. They're escalating. Cellari swallowed, refusing to show fear. What do they want? To stop the peace talks, he said. And to kill you. He glanced down the dim corridor, expression sharpening. They'll try something bigger soon. Cellari held his gaze. Then be ready, Captain? Alex nodded once. Always. The lights stabilized again, but the air carried a new weight, an unspoken acknowledgement that the first attack had already begun. The Sci-Fi cruised through the quiet stretch of the Hellion corridor, its massive hull gliding between fields of drifting cosmic dust like a royal palace adrift through starlight. On the surface, everything seemed peaceful. But inside the royal deck, silence pressed against the walls with suffocating intent. Captain Alex Rourke walked beside Princess Cellari toward the security hub, each step echoing through the corridor. Guards paused and saluted her. They barely acknowledged him. He didn't mind. Attention was a distraction he never needed. Cellari studied him from the corner of her eye. He moved with deliberate calm, yet his gaze swept every corner, lights, vents, shadows. She found herself doing the same, the memory of the oxygen tampering clinging to her thoughts like smoke. The security hub doors opened. Holographic displays flickered alive, casting blue light across the room. Alex stepped toward the central console and began scanning data streams with efficient, rapid motions. Cellari watched, arms crossed. What exactly are you looking for? Patterns, Alex said. Someone used a relay inside this deck to send short, encrypted bursts. If I can isolate the origin, I can map where they're hiding. She approached the display. Lines of alien script, human diagrams, and sensor graphs wove together into a dense mosaic. Is that Council encryption? No, he replied. It's disguised as maintenance logs. Clever. Whoever did this knows the ship well. Solari's jaw tightened. One of my own staff? Possibly. Or someone impersonating them. He tapped a section of the display, enlarging a faint data spike. Here. Look at this. Solari leaned in. It's barely visible. That's why it worked, Alex said. It mimics diagnostic chatter. But the timing is off. Too regular. Too controlled. She gave him a sidelong glance. You noticed that instantly? I've seen this trick used before. She wanted to ask where, but his tone made it clear that was a closed door. The room vibrated softly. Not enough to disturb the guards outside, but enough that both Solari and Alex felt it. What was that? She asked. Minor power fluctuation, Alex replied. He typed several commands and frowned. Another one. Solari's pulse quickened. Is someone sabotaging the power grid? Not directly. They're testing how fast we react. Mapping response times. To find the weakest moment. She whispered. The lights dimmed briefly, then returned to full strength. Alex tapped the console again. These fluctuations are coming from Deck 7. That's below the royal deck, Solari said. Crew quarters, hydroponics, and maintenance shafts. Maintenance shafts, Alex repeated. Good places to hide. Solari stepped back. You intend to go down there? Yes. She breathed in sharply. Alone? That's usually the best way to investigate unknown threats, he said. Too many people make noise. Her instinct told her to refuse. Humans were fragile. A single blade, a single toxin, a single misstep could end him. But ordering him to stay would only leave her without the one person who had noticed the attack she hadn't. You won't wander blindly, she said instead. I'm coming with you. Alex looked up. With respect, Your Highness, that's not a request. He hesitated, not in defiance, but in calculation. She held his gaze firmly until he nodded. Then stay close, he said, and follow my lead. Deck 7 was quieter than it should have been. The hum of engines faded into a low, unnerving drone. Doors that should have been open for crew movement were sealed. Hallway lights flickered at irregular intervals. Solari felt an unfamiliar unease settle in her chest. Alex held a compact scanning device in one hand. Motion sensors are being jammed. Is that unusual? It means someone doesn't want us knowing where they are. Solari kept her eyes sharp. Then we force them out. He pointed at the nearest wall panel. Behind this is a junction of maintenance tunnels. Small spaces. Lots of shadows. Perfect for an ambush, she said. He glanced at her. Exactly. Alex removed the panel and slipped inside the narrow passage, drawing a small light. Solari followed, the tight tunnel walls closing around them like ribs of a mechanical beast. As they moved deeper, the scent of cool metal thickened. Pipes lined the walls, carrying power, water, and air. The dim glow of Alex's light felt swallowed by the oppressive space. Solari whispered, Do you hear that? Alex stopped. A faint tapping. Slow. Deliberate. Too rhythmic to be random. He raised a finger to silence her. The tapping stopped immediately. Solari's skin tingled. They know we're here. Probably watching us, Alex murmured. He swept his light across the tunnel. No movement. No sign of life. Only a narrow stretch of shadows stretching endlessly ahead. Then the tapping resumed, on their left. Alex motioned her backward. Stay behind me. A shadow moved, fast. Alex grabbed Solari's arm and pulled her sharply to the right just as a thin metallic blade thrust through the space they had occupied. The weapon withdrew instantly, the attacker retreating deeper into the dark. Solari's heart hammered. They were waiting. Yes, Alex said. Testing us again. Cellari recovered her calm. Then let's show them we're not prey. They pushed deeper. The tunnel narrowed further until even Cellari's ornate shoulder plates scraped the walls. The tapping continued, but now it echoed from various directions, disorienting. Alex stopped at a junction. He pulled a small probe from his belt and tossed it into the left path. It rolled for a second before a blade snapped out of the wall and sliced it cleanly in half. Cellari's eyes widened. Trap. Triggered by pressure, Alex said. Designed for precise kill zones. He chose the right path without hesitation. How do you know that's not trapped? She asked. Because they expected us to take the left. He smirked faintly. Predictable ambush logic. They moved until the tunnel opened into a small chamber filled with pipes and dim emergency lights. In the center lay a panel torn open to reveal a relay device, still warm. Alex crouched beside it. This is the transmitter. Cellari knelt opposite him. Whoever did this was here moments ago. Yes. He examined the wires. And they knew we were coming. They wiped the logs. A soft click echoed behind them. Alex stood instantly, weapon drawn. A figure materialized from the shadows, slender, armored in matte black plating designed to absorb light. Their face was hidden behind a mask with a single glowing slit. A voice emerged through modulated distortion. You're early, Captain Rourke. Cellari's breath caught. They know your name. Alex didn't flinch. Drop the blade. The assassin tilted their head. You're out of time. Before Alex could fire, the lights across Deck 7 collapsed into darkness. Emergency alarms flickered faintly, then died. The entire deck plunged into silent black. Cellari inhaled sharply. What just happened? Alex's voice cut through the dark. We were wrong. About what? They're not testing defenses anymore. A metallic echo rang out, dozens of synchronized footsteps. They're making their move. Darkness swallowed the maintenance chamber so completely that even the glow of Cellari's armor vanished into the void. The only sound was the slow, methodical advance of multiple footsteps echoing along the metal tunnels. The rhythm was precise, too precise for ordinary soldiers. Alex's hand found Cellari's arm in the dark. Stay low. Don't move until I tell you. His voice was controlled, almost unnervingly steady. Cellari had never heard a human speak with such composed certainty in the face of danger. Her own heartbeat pounded in her ears, threatening to drown out the approaching steps. The first flicker of light came from a visor slit, a thin amber stripe gliding across the tunnel like a predatory eye. Another appeared behind it. And another. 12 in total, converging on the chamber with silent coordination. Cellari whispered. Are these professional kill teams? Alex murmured. They're using stealth plating and sound dampeners. Same tech used by rogue noble houses. House Draith, she said quietly. Most likely. The assassin stopped just outside the chamber, reading the air like hunters assessing the tension of a trap. One extended a blade into the darkness, then withdrew it, satisfied. They stepped inside. And the killing began. Not against Cellari. Against each other. A sudden crackle burst overhead as Alex triggered a hidden switch. The floor sections around the chamber lit up in faint green grids, revealing a tight web of Alex's improvised countermeasures. Pressure tiles rerouted to trigger false targets. 2 assassins stepped onto the wrong plates, causing their own teammates' proximity indicators to mark them hostile. Blades whipped through the dark, and for a few seconds chaos replaced precision. Cellari gasped as 2 assassins collapsed wordlessly, their armor still humming. Alex whispered, They don't expect human modifications to their tech. Their systems aren't calibrated for unpredictability. That was... Cellari struggled for the right word. Ingenious. No choice. 12 against 2 isn't fair odds unless you change the rules. The remaining assassins regrouped instantly. Several activated their visor lights fully, illuminating the chamber in narrow strips of amber and red. The shadows vanished. The trap phase was over. Alex stepped forward, positioning himself between Cellari and the killers. She felt a sudden chill. You can't take them all like this. That's why we're not staying here. He grabbed a loose pipe from the torn relay panel and smashed it against the chamber wall. A high-pitched alarm blared through the tunnels. Alex's doing. The assassins tensed at the sudden noise. In that half-second distraction, Alex pushed Cellari through a maintenance hatch. Go! Right tunnel! They dove inside as the assassins charged. The tunnel was even narrower than before, so tight that Cellari's armor scraped the walls and sparked faint blue arcs. Behind them, assassins moved with terrifying speed, their steps synchronized, their breathing silent. Alex didn't look back. Faster! Cellari followed, lungs burning, every instinct screaming. The tunnel curved sharply upward, forcing them into a steep climb. Metal rungs rattled beneath their hands as they ascended. The assassins entered the shaft. A blade thrust upward, missing Cellari's foot by a hair. Alex swung the pipe downward. It struck the blade's emitter, sending a jolt through the assassin below, forcing them to drop back. But more were coming. Up! Alex ordered. They reached the top of the shaft. Alex slammed his shoulder into the hatch. It hissed open, spilling them into a wide corridor lit only by emergency strips. Cellari collapsed to her knees, panting. Deck 7 feels abandoned. That's because they cleared it out, Alex said. Less witnesses. He helped her stand, then scanned both directions. We can't get back to the royal deck until we know their full plan. She steadied herself. You think there's more than assassination? There's always more. A metallic clatter echoed from the left corridor. Alex lowered his stance. They're splitting up. 2 teams, one to cut us off, one to flank. Cellari clasped the hilt of her ceremonial dagger. Her pulse finally slowed, not from calm but from resolve. Then we move before they box us in. Alex pointed toward a sealed bulkhead. That leads to the secondary power spine. If they want to sabotage navigation or life support, they'll start there. Then that's where we go. He gave a curt nod. They ran. The secondary power spine was a long, narrow stretch of reinforced metal grilled over humming conduits. Energy pulsed beneath their feet like a mechanical heartbeat. Cellari had walked this corridor many times, but never with this level of awareness. Every heat vent, every panel, every shadow could be a hiding place. Alex halted suddenly. Stop. She froze. Ahead of them, the corridor seemed normal. But Alex crouched and tapped the left wall. The panels sounded wrong, hollow. Explosives, he murmured. Thin layer of metal hiding a shaped charge. Cellari's eyes widened. They intend to cripple the ship and kill everyone aboard. Alex inspected the wires. Timer hasn't started. Remote detonation. Can you disarm it? Not safely. But we... A faint metallic scrape cut him off. Cellari turned slowly. 4 assassins were stepping into the corridor from behind, blocking their return route. Their armor gleamed under the emergency strips, blades drawn, glowing faintly with a charged hum. Alex whispered, Stay back. But Cellari shook her head. We faced them together. His jaw tightened, not from disagreement, but from acceptance. The assassins advanced silently, each step measured. They were coordinated, trained, merciless. Alex dropped the pipe and drew his compact weapon. Not a gun. Ammunition was useless against shock-absorbent armor, but a short-range electric baton, humming with concentrated charge. Cellari shifted into a defensive stance, her dagger angled low. The assassins lunged. Alex met the first with a swift upward strike, the electric baton cracking against the assassin's mask. Sparks erupted, and the attacker staggered, vision systems overloaded. Cellari ducked beneath a blade aimed at her neck, rolled forward, and drove her dagger into the assassin's exposed joint, an instinctive strike that left the attacker collapsing. Alex ducked beneath a sweeping strike and rammed his boot into a power conduit. Electricity surged through the metal floor. The assassins jerked violently as the charge rippled through their armor. Cellari barely maintained her balance. Did you just… Shortcut, Alex grunted, wrenching another assassin's arm and slamming him into the wall. 2 assassins remained upright. One lunged at Cellari with lightning speed. She dodged but stumbled. The narrow walkway offered little room. Before the assassin could finish her, Alex slammed into the attacker from the side, sending them toppling into the railing. Their armor sparked violently. The last assassin hesitated. A rare sign of uncertainty. Alex stepped toward him. Tell Vexorian he should have sent more. The assassin retreated into the dark. Cellari straightened, breathing hard. We survived. For now, Alex replied. But we're running out of time. He pointed at the explosive panel. If Vexorian arms that, the ship is done. Cellari lifted her chin. Then we stop him. The corridor lights flickered again, longer this time, as if the ship itself were growing weaker. Alex met her eyes. Alex met her eyes. This isn't a simple hit squad, Your Highness. It's a coordinated takeover. And they're not finished, Cellari said. Footsteps echoed from the shadows, many more than before. Alex exhaled slowly. 12 assassins still inbound. Cellari drew her dagger again. Then let them come. The ship dimmed, the power grid groaning under heavy interference. The true battle was only beginning. The hull of the diplomatic cruiser chimed in distress as it tore through the final layer of atmospheric drag. Princess Sarenth steadied her stance, bracing against the trembling deck while Kale sprinted toward the cockpit. The ship was bleeding altitude too fast. Kale could see it in the jagged dips of the console displays. Stabilizers are offline, Sarenth warned, fingers flying across the auxiliary panel. If we descend any farther, the pressure will crush the lower decks. Kale strapped himself into the helm. Not if I land it first. Land it? We're caught in a coordinated descent trap. That's fine, he muttered, locking the flight sticks. I've gotten good at dealing with traps. The cruiser lurched. The artificial horizon spun. Kale forced the engines to cycle in alternating bursts, using the atmospheric drag to bleed speed while keeping the vessel intact. The maneuver was reckless, borderline suicidal, but the ship responded. Slowly, painfully, the descent leveled. When the cruiser slammed onto the landing pad of the Arkan vault, the impact rattled every bone in their bodies. Lights cut out. Dust rose around them. Kale exhaled. Still alive? Sarenth pushed her hair back, eyes wide. You flew us blind into the most fortified archives in the quadrant. Safer than staying outside. He unstrapped and stood. They'll come. They need you dead before you can reach the vault's core. The princess followed him toward the exit hatch. You talk as if we're walking into a nest. We are, Kale replied. And I doubt we're welcome. The hatch hissed open. The Arkan vault's antechamber stretched before them, an obsidian hall lit only by pale veins of crystalline light. Echoes carried unnervingly far, whispering under the arched ceiling. Rows of ancient glyphs marked pathways in a language older than both their species. A figure emerged at the far end. Then another. Then more. Sarenth froze. Kale. 12. Kale counted quietly. They sent every shadow they had. The Obsidian Cabal's elite assassins moved with predatory precision, each draped in matte armor that warped light around their bodies. Their leader stepped forward, tall, masked voice a cold rasp. Princess Sarenth. Your lineage dies tonight. Human, stand aside if you value your existence. Kale cracked his knuckles. Try making me. The shadows advanced. Kale acted first. He kicked the emergency pressure column beside him. A sharp burst of steam blasted outward, cloaking him in white vapor. Using the cover, he drove forward, striking the nearest assassin at the joint of the neck guard. The armor cracked, dropping the figure instantly. One down. Sarenth leapt back as an assassin lunged for her. She raised her wrist scepter, channeling shimmering kinetic energy to deflect the strike. The blow rippled against her barrier, but the force still staggered her. Kale spun, grabbed the fallen assassin's blade, and hurled it like a spear into the chest of another. The impact sent the second shadow sprawling. 2 down. The remaining 10 spread out, recognizing him as the greater threat. Sarenth raised her voice over the chaos. They're focusing on you. Good, Kale said, dodging a plasma blade. Makes it easier to hit them. A trio rushed him at once. Kale dropped, sweeping the legs of the first while kicking off the wall to strike the second in the visor. The third caught him across the ribs, opening a burning gash, but Kale powered through the pain, grabbing the attacker's arm and twisting until bone cracked. 3 more down. Sarenth retreated toward the luminescent inscriptions carved into the floor. Kale, the vault's energy can amplify defensive shields. If I stabilize the runes. Do it! Kale shouted. The hall shook with sudden tremors. One assassin hurled an explosive charge toward Sarenth. Kale sprinted, catching the device midair and whipping it back at the group. The explosion swallowed 3 shadows in a dense, concussive blast. That left 4. Sarenth activated the runes. Light surged beneath her feet, forming a shimmering barrier across half the chamber. I can hold it for a few minutes. I only need seconds. Kale moved like a storm unleashed. He seized a broken shard of Cabal armor, deflected a plasma strike with it, and slammed his knee into an assassin's chest. The armor buckled. The assassin fell. Kale caught their weapon and pivoted, firing a charged blast into another attacker's visor. 2 left. The leader and his final blade. The leader stepped forward, drawing a curved photon scythe that hummed with lethal resonance. You are a rarity, human. Skill beyond your species. But raw defiance is not enough to alter fate. Kale wiped blood from his jaw. Funny. I make a habit of doing exactly that. They clashed. The scythe's arc carved glowing trails through the dim hall while Kale countered with pure instinct, rolling, dodging, redirecting momentum. Every swing pushed him closer to the boundary of Sarenth's shield. Every strike tested the limits of his endurance. The final assassin circled behind Kale. Sarenth saw it first. Kale! He didn't hesitate. Kale stepped deeper into the leader's attack, letting the scythe cut into his shoulder to gain leverage. He grabbed the weapon's handle, twisted hard, and slammed his forehead into the leader's mask. The glass cracked. Then he used the momentum to hurl the leader directly into the second assassin just as the shadow lunged from behind. They collided. Kale seized the fallen scythe, ignited it, and brought it down in a decisive arc. Silence followed. Sarenth slowly lowered her shield. Her voice trembled. You took on 12 of them. Kale leaned on the scythe for balance, breath ragged. You're the important one. I'm just the escort. She stepped closer, placing a hand on his arm. You're far more than that. Before he could reply, the vault's central doors ground open. The inner chamber pulsed with radiant energy, ancient, powerful, waiting. The princess approached the threshold, awed by the vast spherical core swirling with celestial glyphs. This is what they feared, she whispered. This archive contains every treaty, every oath, every betrayal binding my empire. With full access, I can expose the Cabal's infiltration. Kale nodded. Then let's finish this. As Sarenth stepped into the core's light, the chamber resonated to her presence. The walls unfolded like petals, revealing cascading records of her lineage. Generations of truth, corruption, and hidden deals shimmered before her. She turned back to Kale. You changed everything today. Not just for me, for my people. Kale managed a tired half-smile. Humans are good at that. The vault began uploading encrypted data into her scepter, sealing her claim to the throne and the authority to dismantle the Cabal. Outside, distant engines roared. Loyalist fleets were arriving. Kale finally allowed himself to sit. So, what happens now? Sarenth knelt beside him. No, she said. The galaxy learns what a useless human is truly capable of. Kale chuckled softly. Guess HFY becomes official policy. As the vault glowed brighter, the future unfolded, dangerous, uncertain, but finally theirs to shape. And for the first time, Sarenth felt a fierce hope. Humanity had changed her destiny. and Kale had changed her.